Outside the space station, two astronauts are working on repairs. Suddenly they hear a weird noise that makes their ears hurt as a shadow comes closer. In the USA, a group of teenagers is leaving on a trip to a lake house. Annie is introduced to Charlie, who behaves awkwardly and can't stop staring at a girl's picture on his phone. After a few hours of traveling, the group stops at a gas station and Brendan wanders around to take some pictures. At the back, he finds a truck with dripping blood and a shape that appears to be a body. Suddenly he's pushed down by Hunter, who thinks Brendan's a reporter and tosses away his camera. Brendan explains he's just a tourist that stopped for gas and Hunter shows him the body, which turns out to be just a dead deer. At that moment Charlie finds them, so Hunter releases Brendan, and both teens run back to the car when they see Hunter is armed. Meanwhile in Alaska, some scientists discover strange disturbances happening in the atmosphere. Moments later the teens make it to the lake house. While Rob and Kara have some dirty time alone in the house, the others take a walk to admire the forest. Brendan also installs a motion sensor on a tree to be safe against bears. The trio then wanders around and they find a house hidden in the woods. Annie convinces them to go inside because she thinks it's abandoned, but the fresh pelts hanging outside indicate it isn't. Inside the house they find a bunch of stuffed animals and a functioning Doppler radar. Under a dusty sheet, Annie finds a military radio, only to start coughing when the dust triggers her asthma. Thankfully she has her inhaler and quickly recovers. Then Brendan discovers some pictures on the wall that reveal the house belongs to Hunter, who used to be in the military and even worked as an astronaut. At that moment Hunter comes back in his truck, so the teens run to hide in another room. The back door turns out to be locked, so they very carefully sneak out through the window. Hunter comes inside and sees the dusty sheet has been moved, but by the time he checks the other room the teens are already gone. He still gets in his truck and tries going after them, however he finds the path blocked by a tree. This allows the trio to run away and escape safely even though Charlie trips on their way out. When they make it back to the house, they see on the news that mysterious cloud formations have been appearing all over the world. It's expanding very quickly, yet meteorologists can't understand what's happening. Brendan looks outside and notices the clouds are getting stormy in this area too. The group comes out to take a better look and Rob notices the car battery is dead, guessing someone left the lights on. However everyone swears they didn't. In the Blackbird military bunker, the FBI and the Army are having a meeting to discuss Project Blue Book, using files containing pictures of aliens. It originally ended in 1969 but pilots kept on reporting similar experiences since then. A prisoner called Romanovich is brought in and asked to share his story, which they didn't believe in the past. They receive a call that the visitors are approaching and Romanovich shows the tattoos he received during the last incident, telling the soldiers those visitors can't be fought. Back in the lake house, Rob concludes that their car hood had been forced because he found a tool wedged in the frame that shorted out the battery. Charlie thinks it was Hunter, who is currently going through the forest to get some traps ready. In the evening, Annie asks Charlie about the picture in his phone. He explains that's his former girlfriend, who died 10 months ago in a car accident. Charlie still hasn't moved on, that's why he behaves awkwardly around other girls. At Hunter's house, he continues to make preparations while hearing on TV how a conspiracy theorist swears those clouds indicate the arrival of alien life. However, a second guy sounds saner and shows some strange tattoos on his arm. At that moment the interview is interrupted with an urgent report: a massive spacecraft has appeared in the sky. Hunter leaves his home to watch the spacecraft emerge from the stormy clouds and send pods down to Earth. Suddenly a bright explosion of light happens and causes Hunter to have a seizure. In the bunker, the same happens to Romanovich. Once it stops, he says the aliens know he's there. In the lake house, Kara wakes up and watches another pod land on Earth. When Rob checks on her, he finds her frozen in front of the window and she passes out as soon as he touches her. Rob screams and the others come over as Kara wakes up normally. Meanwhile Brendan is checking the camera from the motion sensor and finds something creepy moving in the dark. He calls his friends to show them and a closer look indicates it's Hunter. Furious, Rob leaves the house to look for his gun in the car, unaware that Hunter is watching from the trees. Inside, the girls try to call their parents, but there's no signal. Brendan assumes the storm has knocked out the communication relays. As Rob makes his way back, he steps on some weird goo that gets stuck on his shoe. When he looks down with his flashlight, he's shocked to see an alien hiding under the deck. He shoots his gun once before rushing back inside, however he tells the others that the gun went off when he tripped. Then Kara looks out the window and sees a red glow among the trees, which triggers a memory. Before she can explain, they see the alien outside and everyone runs to hide while Hunter still watches from afar. Afterward the group starts discussing how to proceed. Rob gets annoyed that Charlie is calling the shots and insults him, so Charlie throws Rob on the couch and gets ready to fight. At that moment Kara starts feeling sick and says they're all going to die. Then they hear the sound of a window breaking and the group checks the kitchen, where they find a red alien that floats around them before leaving. Outside, Hunter sees this. The group decides they need to leave, so Annie and Brendan go to the garage to get the charged battery. Charlie and Rob go to get Kara, only to find her gone. The red alien is now floating in the living room and moving toward a more humanoid alien like the one Brendan saw. The guys wait for the aliens to be gone before moving, and when Rob senses someone behind him he immediately opens fire. However, he ends up shooting Kara. A desperate Rob picks Kara up and takes her to the garage with the others. He starts doing CPR but it's too late, Kara is already dead. At first Rob cries, but he quickly becomes cold and raises his gun as he announces they need a distraction. He tries to tell the others to run into the forest as bait, but he's distracted by a red light appearing at the window. Charlie uses the chance to jump on Rob and fight him for the gun. They throw each other all over the room as they struggle and Charlie gets a particularly bad hit, but he quickly retaliates and knocks Rob out. Then Charlie, Brendan, and Annie leave the house, not noticing Rob waking up. The trio gets in the car and takes off, only to see Rob blocking the way. Rob jumps off but Charlie still steers the car and it ends up rolling down a small hill. Thankfully everyone is fine and when they come out, Rob approaches them, ready to shoot. At that moment the spacecraft appears above them and a beam of light takes Rob away. Terrified, the other three start running through the woods, but they must stop when Annie has to use her inhaler. As she catches her breath, Annie notices something weird on a branch and the guys take a closer look, discovering a creepy hand that suddenly moves. Panicking, the trio starts running again while Hunter watches from the top of a tree. Charlie trips, causing him to roll down the hill and hit his head. Soon Annie finds him and helps him move, hiding in a safe spot so she can take care of his wound. Brendan is still running and accidentally steps on a bear trap, screaming so loudly that Annie and Charlie run to find him. Charlie tries to open it to no avail while Annie rushes into Hunter's home, where she uses his radio to call for help. The US military tells her to wait for a rescue team at the gulch. After hanging up, she notices an alien hiding behind her and runs away. Back to Charlie, he hears a noise and grabs a branch to defend himself, but Hunter sneaks behind him and easily disarms him. Then he removes the bear trap and informs Brendan that the damage to his leg isn't too bad. At that moment Annie comes back and tells them of the alien in the house, so Hunter moves the teens to another spot. While he moves to the side to use his flashlight, Annie secretly tells the boys that help is on the way. The flashlight effectively attracts the alien, who trips on Hunter's rope and gets caught in his trap. A laughing Hunter asks the creature if it remembers him before shooting it. Charlie realizes Hunter used them as bait and tries to punch the guy, but Hunter easily stops him with a light hit. Afterward the teens follow Hunter to his house, where he gives Brendan an injection and makes him drink some medicine. Then he makes him bite on a stick before painfully setting his bones so he can finally bandage the leg, which causes Brendan to pass out. Charlie chats with Hunter to keep him distracted so Annie can steal the keys of his truck, however Hunter can tell what they're doing and explains his truck isn't working anymore. Hunter says he's willing to lend them his boat but they must wait until morning if they want to survive the trip. Apparently sunlight interferes with the aliens' metabolism, making them slow. Frustrated, Charlie thinks they have no reason to listen to Hunter, who shares his story. In 1995, he was an astronaut in a shuttle doing pre-launch checks. One moment he blinked, the other he woke up in a deserted land 2,000 miles away with no memories of what happened in the last 48 hours. As time passed, some memories came back, lots of lights, some smells and tastes. Romanovich had gone through the same thing and they both found strange tattoos on their bodies after the experience. Hunter says this is how the aliens mark the humans that show promise for later upgrades and that they've been conducting test runs for the last 60 years in preparation for tonight, during which there will be a mass abduction. Charlie doesn't believe any of this, so Hunter proves it by moving objects with his mind. He only discovered this power a couple of years ago before his memories came back along with some memories that weren't his own. His theory says the aliens used some sort of neural implant full of information. Now he knows everything about the aliens, including the fact humans only evolved from unicellular organism thanks to the aliens' intervention. These creatures use humans to experiment on the same way humans use lab rats. Hunter did try to warn the authorities about tonight, but they said he was crazy, so he's determined to hunt down the aliens himself for revenge. Afterward Hunter goes out to prepare more traps. Annie tries to comfort Charlie, who shares the story of how his girlfriend died. That night he had been driving and fell asleep on the wheel, causing the accident. When he woke up he tried to get the girl out of the car, but it was too late. The chat is interrupted by Hunter, who comes back dragging the body of the dead alien. He goes into the other room and starts cutting the creature open. Seeing a chance to escape, Annie and Charlie wake Brendan up. Suddenly the house starts shaking and the red lights appear outside, causing Hunter some unbearable pain. Then a screeching sound echoes in the house, hurting the teens' ears too. They get scared when they see a figure at the door, but it's Hunter who is leaving to check on his traps. Soon the lights change to blue and Brendan has a seizure as a bright glow fills the room. When Annie and Charlie can see again, Brendan is gone and there's a hole in the wall. At that moment the alien comes in, so Annie and Charlie hide under the bed. While the alien looks around, Charlie notices a loose plank and breaks it, allowing the duo to escape the building right before the alien lifts the mattress. Then Hunter fires at his house until the creature runs away. He says he's having fun so he gives the teens the boat keys and tells them to leave without him. Annie and Charlie run to the lake, only for Charlie to freeze when he realizes this area is too exposed. Annie thinks he's letting the memory of his girlfriend make him a coward and decides to continue alone. She runs to the boat, and when she's about to start it, she has an asthma attack that quickly gets worse because she can't find her inhaler. Charlie pushes through his fears and comes to help, since the inhaler was left in his pocket after last time. At that moment they see light in the sky, and the noise makes them think it's the helicopter, but it's actually the spacecraft. A beam of blue light makes Annie freeze and starts taking her away, so Charlie clings to her to be taken too. Moments later, Charlie wakes up inside a strange pool. He breaks the tissue on the wall and looks out to discover hundreds of pools with people that are being watched over by the floating red aliens. Then he breaks the tissue on the opposite wall and discovers a tunnel, so he crawls through it to reach the another area. As he looks for Annie, he hears a voice calling his name and is shocked to discover Brendan hanging on a wall. He says the aliens fixed him because his leg doesn't hurt anymore, but when Charlie breaks the tissue covering Brendan's lower body, he discovers it's been replaced by machinery. Terrified, Charlie keeps going and finds a room with a beating heart inside. Further in the back, there's another room with 2 tubs containing Kara and Rob, who are also missing their lower bodies. Rob suddenly wakes up and grabs Charlie's arm to stop him from leaving, but Charlie struggles against his grasp and forces him to release him by breaking the pipes connected to the tub. Hearing Annie calling for him, Charlie keeps on searching and eventually finds her in a tub too. Her body is still complete, so Charlie picks her up to save her and falls, revealing some wires connected to a weird skin shape on her back. Disconnecting her has also knocked her out. At that moment the aliens find Rob's broken pipes and come looking for him, using Rob's voice to call his name. Charlie finds a knife and hides in the tub, so when the alien comes closer, he bursts out to stab it. However, the creature is unbothered and grabs Charlie's face to push him underwater. Moments later, Charlie wakes up connected to an alien machine. As the aliens start experimenting on him, he has a vision of him in the tub and his dead girlfriend appearing next to him. She asks him to let her go so he can start over, and Charlie agrees. At the same time the aliens drill into his brain. The next time Charlie wakes up, he's back on the forest in the morning. Since he's naked, he immediately notices his body now has tattoos like Hunter's. His clothes are neatly folded next to him. Nearby, Annie wakes up as well, also with tattoos and clothes waiting, but her inhaler isn't needed anymore. Charlie and Annie soon reunite and neither of them remembers what happened last night, but they kiss anyway. Afterward they return to the house, where they find Brendan and Rob retrieving the car. In just a few seconds, a perfectly alive Kara joins them too. Meanwhile the US military watches the footage of the spacecraft taken by their pilots on patrol. It seems the aliens are leaving, and Romanovich smiles because he knew it would happen. At his house, Hunter admires the alien body, which he has hung on the wall like another stuffed animal. The news say 20,000 people disappeared and came back overnight, so the military are putting them in quarantine. Later that day the teens get on the car to go home and Rob shocks everyone by predicting the texts that would arrive to their phones. At that moment they find the road blocked by soldiers and cops, who immediately see their tattoos and make them leave the vehicle. Then the men discuss what to do and Annie can hear them talking about killing them even though they're whispering. Suddenly the soldier turns around and quickly shoots Rob and Kara. When he aims at Brendan, he only hits him in the leg while a cop uses the chance to shoot Annie. Furious, Charlie activates his new power and calls the gun to his hand, opening fire on the men blocking the road. At the same time Hunter helps him from the trees. Brendan also activates his new ability and simply disappears. Charlie shoots the soldier approaching Annie, who is still alive. A cop grabs him from behind and Charlie throws him to the ground, breaking his neck. Afterward Charlie and Hunter share a nod before Hunter leaves. Brendan appears nearby and Annie and Charlie leave with him through the woods. After they're gone, Kara's wound heals itself and she wakes up. Then Kara touches Rob to heal him too. In the forest, the trio notices another storm coming. Make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you can watch more videos like this. Thanks for watching.